I want to show you now the interactive table widget that comes with VisualSaaS. It's a mainstay of the system and it's used in two different ways. One as a gateway to data maintenance, and the other as a very powerful way of presenting complex information to users easily and understandably. I'm in the designer at the moment, and if I double click on this, I'll bring up the widget demonstrator, which is a container that comes with all of the systems. This may vary from the actual one that you have on yours, but as an example here I have an interactive table, or an editable table as it's sometimes also referred to, already set up. So I'm going to take you through some of the features which are specific to an interactive table. The general information about widgets is available from the help system, and don't forget that each widget comes with quite comprehensive context sensitive help, so that you can understand a bit better what it is you need to do with it. So if I click on there, bring up the properties page, I'm just going to go through some of the properties which are specific to an interactive table. The first one is the SQL definition, structured query language. By default, your system comes with a Postgres data repository, so unless you specify otherwise, you need to write SQL as Postgres standard SQL. Your system is capable of accessing data from a variety of other different types of data repository, and if you're going to go out to something else, then obviously you'll need to write your SQL in whatever the appropriate format is for that system. You can double click on here and it brings up a development area so that you can design your SQL and test it before actually committing it. Here it tells you by default how many records you actually want to show per page. Your users can override that when they actually see the table. This tells the system how many of the columns that you specify in your SQL you want to display in your table, and it starts from the first column. If you have rows of data where the first couple of cells repeat, then you can hide those repeating values for sort of sake of clarity by specifying that how many columns you want to show as a group. You can specify the background color and the text color for any particular row, and you can do that on the basis of JavaScript. So you can see here I'm saying that if the menu is administration, if the value of the column called menu, so that value is administration, then I'm going to set the color to that. It's not completely well formed JavaScript, but if you follow this sort of pro forma, then you'll achieve the results you want. Similarly for the text color down here. Here I can specify what I want to do. If I want to add data to the underlying table, this lets me specify which dialogue I want to show and how I want to show it. This tells me what colours I want to put as the background for odd coloured rows, even coloured rows, and the row that the cursor is over at any one particular time. And think that's probably it. Oh, there's the universe that I was telling you about. It specifies where you're going to get your data from. By default, that's Postgres, or the default value is Postgres, and the Postgres database that comes with your system. But your system administrator can specify other universes, and they can be Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, a whole variety of different systems. Having specified the general features of the table, you can then specify the features for any particular column. So if I click on there and bring up the column settings, I can specify type. If I don't specify any type at all, then it will try and take a guess based on the values that are returned. I can specify the alignment for the text within the columns, so that I can override the defaults being numbers and dates are right justified, strings are left justified, but I can specify that I want things to be left justified, right justified, or center justified. I can give the column a name, so I could put here, I could enter the value menu. You can see over there it's added that there for so that you can understand what's going on. If I don't supply a name, then the table widget will take the name from the appropriate column in the SQL and use that as the column header on the table. I can specify the column width here, or I can use the interactive resizing there to change it. You can see that it's changed there. I can specify a colour for the text. It's just a pure colour value. I can specify a format for the column, so if I bring back a decimal value which represented a currency, for instance, I could then format that as a currency string. I can define on an individual cell basis what background colour to use. I think if I click over here, yes, then I've got an example already set up. So in this instance, I'm saying that if the value of sequence is greater than 500, then I want that background colour. Otherwise, if it's less than 50, I want that background colour. These are just examples. I can specify JavaScript to be executed when the column's clicked, and this typically would be used for data maintenance, so that you might want to be able to click on a particular row and open up the underlying data maintenance container so that you can change the values of the record that you're looking at. If I want to include a footer with the table, I can specify in here what values I want to show, and the last one here is a rollover tip for the cell within a particular row. That's specified as JavaScript, and if I don't specify anything at all, then it will just come back with the value of the cell itself. So over on the operational system, I've got that widget demonstrator displayed, and here it is. Here's the table that we're looking at. So you can see here that by default these are the colours for the text in a cell. I've played around with the background colours where the cell is where it meets particular criteria, and I've changed the text colour as well where we meet particular criteria. I can page through Page back again. I can use the filter and results sorting widgets here to change which data I bring back and how it's sorted. That will override the sorting provided by the SQL by default. There's the refresh button. What you won't see here is the add button, because I didn't specify anything for the table for the add dialog. If I click on here, then per instance I can change the number of records that I want to show per page. There you see it's changed immediately, and I've now, if I scroll down here, I've got many more on display. I can go to a particular page. So there we go, that's the last page now. Go back to the first page. I can click on here to change the sorting. By default this was sorted in alphabetical order for the menu, but if I click on this you can see now that the value is sorted numerically by the sequence. And I've also got export options, so that I can export this as just an HTML table in PDF format, as a CSV file for importing into some other package, or as an XML file which is compatible with Excel. And as I said, in the designer you've got context sensitive help for all of the properties, and in addition, if you click on the help button on the container, it will show you details about not only the thing you're looking at, so in this case we were looking at a column, but also the explicitly what properties you can set and what values those properties can take.